Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're all having a great day. So today I wanted to discuss something that shows up in my comments a lot about Framework, the laptop company. I see a lot of comments from people saying, I'll buy it once there's a bigger screen, I'll get it when there's a different CPU, I'll get it when there's a GPU available, and the one that I am the most sympathetic to, I'll buy one when there's a track point. Hint, hint, if Narav is watching. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to say here is that anytime you are looking for there to be some sort of change in a product lineup or a change in an industry, you're probably going to have to sacrifice in some way, shape, or form. So Framework is a company that, if I were to guess, most likely has less money available than Dell, HP, Lenovo, Apple, Acer. So having 10 or 20 or 50 different product lines is probably out of the question for them for the time being until they get a lot more investment. So one reason I'm happy to use that thing, even though it would be nice if it had a more powerful processor or, more heat sinking, because when I'm doing a stream, you guys can hear the fan on it going off nonstop, more power per dollar, or even just something like a track point, is I realize that if they don't do well, if they don't sell well, then the market, people will be able to say, well, the market just doesn't want repairability. When in reality, it's that the market likes repairability. It's just they really don't want to deal with the lack of all these features that you get from other manufacturers. And I think there's going to be some sort of compromise that you're going to have to deal with in order to get certain things that you want until the market sees that there is an actual need for it. Once the market sees that there is a desire and a need for a particular feature, then you'll see other companies start to jump in that will be able to provide it in a better fashion. And that's what I'm hoping to see. I want to see them get more investment. I want to see them be able to make more product lines with more investment. I want to see that those more product lines lead to some, net profit, breaking even, or whatever that's necessary for them to become a more and more viable company. Because once other companies see that they're a viable company, what I'm hoping is that other companies start making product lines where they're open to making schematics available, or they're open to making the parts available. They're open to making the laptop in a manner where it's really easy to open and get to things. And like one area where I think you could see this is with, let's say, electric cars. So if you wanted an electric car, for the longest time, you had to pay an insane amount of money. You had to deal with a company like Tesla, where the build quality was similar to a Kia in the 90s. You had to deal with all the defects they had and all this other stuff. And, they proved that there is a market for it. They proved that you can build out a national charging infrastructure. And now you have choices from other manufacturers. Granted, they're not the greatest. Ford has the battery contacts overheating and potentially going on fire. Chevy has the Bolt that occasionally goes on fire, but you get my point. There's more people that are entering it. You have the White House announcing that they're looking to build a national charging infrastructure and so on and so forth. So since they came along and since they were somewhat successful and they sold a good amount of products, you now have other companies saying, you know what, maybe we should make a product like that too. And then once other companies get into it, the hope is that eventually you get to a point where somebody's selling an electric car that for less than $50,000, where when you close the door, it's not like doing flies with 200 pounds at the gym where you have to go like, "Argh! Argh!" Try closing the door on a Model 3 versus a Mercedes E350 and you'll see what I'm talking about. But my point is, there's going to be some compromise in the beginning. And I'm absolutely okay to accept those compromises. Like, I'm not going to say that is a perfect laptop in any way, shape, or form. Because it's not. It could have better battery life. It could have a better processor for the price. It could have a track point interface. It could have a better, there's all sorts of things that could be better. But it is a good device. It is a good device, I'll give it that. And more importantly, it's a good device that makes progress in an area that nobody else has. Again, would I prefer that they make schematics available to everybody rather than just people who sign an NDA? 100% yes, I would. But here's the thing. If I want them to be able to be in a bargaining position with their vendors to be able to strong-arm them into making that happen, they need to be more successful. Dell or Apple can strong-arm their vendors and say, we're going to make schematics available to our users. Tough shit if you don't like it. A company that barely has any sales, that just showed up, that has less money than almost any company producing a laptop, they can't really do that. And so I'm open to making that beginning sacrifice, being an early adopter, getting something where I'm not getting 100% of everything, if it means that I am demonstrating that there is a desire for this. I want to signal to other companies that there is a desire for this so that more other companies start doing it. Or if other companies don't start doing it, maybe more people will become maybe that company will become more successful, and as a result of them becoming more successful, Doesn't even matter if other companies are doing it, because you'll be able to get a Ryzen framework, or a Ryzen framework with an RTX 3060 GPU in it, or a netbook framework, a 17-inch framework, and so on and so forth. And I'd like to see that happen. But for that to start happening, I think that they have to be massively successful, or at least break even with their current offerings. The last thing I'd want to see happen is for them to fail with their current offering, and then for everybody to go, see, nobody wants something that's repairable. The market said no. If Framework fails, it's not going to be because the market doesn't want a repairable device. It's going to be because they have one laptop and like one configuration, and that's supposed to be one size fits all for everybody, because most likely, again, I'm guessing, they don't have enough money to have 20 different product lines. Let me know what you think in the comments down below when it comes to being an early adopter, when it comes to a company trying to transform an industry. How much compromise do you think people should be open to accepting, if any, in order to see things move in a different direction? I know that there's Richard Stallman. He had something, I think it's called the Linode or Lamote Elong laptop. It's because this thing uses an open BIOS and open everything. I'm pretty sure when he started using that thing, it didn't even have suspend. Like, you didn't even have an S3 state in this laptop. It's like odd or off. It looked like an absolute piece of shit. And, I understand why people would not want to go that far, but I think that there's a little bit of sacrifice when it comes to being an early adopter of a company that's trying to transform an industry with a minimum budget. Isn't the scenery nice, by the way? Yeah, this is a nice place to stop by on the way back home. I like kind of switching back and forth from time to time. Like every now and then, walking around the Lower East Side after a night of drinking in New York City. Like, that can be fun. But then also going someplace where there's no people and just the sound of some crickets, some birds by a pond can also be very fun, nice and relaxing too. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.